Every day I get to wake up in the best place on earth, Holland, Michigan. When I first arrived, I was lost. I was confused. And I still ask, is it even real? Well, I wish Holland wasn't real. I also wish the Amazon original with the same name wasn't real. This was directed by Mimi Cave, who did Fresh, and this was allegedly written by an actual human named Andrew Sadrowski, who's done television, but based on the dialogue and based on the way people act in this movie, I'm starting to think that there was an AI program that just had this assumed name. Am I tipping my hand as to how I felt about Holland already? The country or the movie? I'll let you figure that out. Actually, I have nothing against Holland. I just felt the need to make that joke. But this features Nicole Kidman as Nancy. Nobody named Sid in this movie, unfortunately, so we couldn't have had a Sid and Nancy situation, which, quite frankly, this movie deserved to meet a Sid and Nancy-like ending. Okay, I'm trying to be nice. No, fuck it. I'm not going to be goddamn nice. This movie's a fucking goddamn abomination. This movie is about 5% as smart as it actually thinks it is. It tips its hand way too fucking early as to what the actual twist is. And if you have any attached brainstem, you know what the twist is from the first 10 to 15 fucking minutes. Matthew McFadden is totally wasted in this. I think a lot of people that were filming the movie were wasted during this. Amazon actually can churn out some decent originals, and I understand what they were trying to go for, but twisty, topsy-turvy stuff with a basic bitch of a concept like this, you need to have actual talent just go full board. You need to not have them be bland, boring, fucking caricatures. Anyway, so Matthew McFadden's in this, and also Gael Garcia Bernal, who was in Cassandra and the Mother. And this briefly, very briefly, features Rachel Sennett. You have Rachel Sennett, somebody that is a great dramatic actress, a great comedic actress, and she is in one scene. I don't even know if she has more than a minute on camera. Good job, Holland. Good job, you fucking moron. So anyway, yeah, it's an idealistic town named Holland, Michigan. It seems all quaint and nice. But obviously there's a seedy secret. A seedy secret that once again is very obvious from early on. So, Fred, played by Matthew, keeps going away on business. He's an optometrist. He also helps his son with his model set that, has a train and looks eerily like the goddamn town that they live in. Gee, I wonder what the twist is. God, the Twilight Zone did this so much fucking better. Rod Serling could have done this so much better. And he's been dead for like about 50 fucking years. Anyway, the more I think about this movie, the more pissed off I get. You have a great goddamn actress like Nicole Kidman, who basically is totally lost in this, and Gael Garcia Bernal is very good as well. Matthew McFadden's very good. The kid that played the kid, Harry, I didn't write his name down because I don't care. He did okay, but everybody's totally goddamn lost with this terrible fucking story. This absolutely putrid fucking goddamn plot. Anyway, Nancy and Dave's not here, man. Oh, wait, Dave is here because Dave is played by Gael Garcia Bernal, or Gale Garcia Bernal. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. So, they decide to investigate the possibility that Fred is hiding a secret. And Rachel Sennett's character's in the very beginning. So if you're a Rachel Sennett fan, congratulations, you get her in the very beginning. Love me some Rachel Sennett, but what the fuck. So, yeah, they investigate. In fact, this whole mystery thing takes up most of the goddamn movie. A mystery that really isn't much of a goddamn mystery. And unfortunately, this movie, despite being only about an hour and 40 minutes, somehow feels like it is at least 30 to 40 minutes too long. There's even little hints with Fred that, like, what do you do, when you don't want to make your bed? You just lay the comforter over everything and smooth it out, like you're just covering everything up. Gee, I wonder what the secret is. It's fine. It's a movie. Can't fucking hurt me. Except it did. This movie really did hurt me. So, there's windmill stuff, there's Dutch stuff. No Dutch ovening, thankfully. That's probably a good thing. And yeah, Nancy's having some nightmares. She suspects something's wrong. She actually suspects that Fred might be cheating on her. I'm just going to say, if you were going to cheat on Nicole Kidman, you were a fucking asshole. Anybody would kill to have a woman half as good looking as Nicole Kidman. That being said, There's a bit of a, possible, I'm just going to spoil a few things here, by the way, but an indication there might be a romance between Nicole and Gail, or Nancy and Dave, and this mystery really isn't much of a goddamn mystery, and every bit of this movie just feels so stretched out to its fucking limits. It's actually almost impressive how little happens until the third act, and then despite the fact that they tried to show a bunch of stuff happening, nothing really happens. And the movie also simultaneously makes sense, but leaves so many things unanswered that you don't really necessarily care if anything really makes sense. You just want the fucking movie to be over. It is on Amazon if you want to check it out. It's a total waste of the goddamn talent. It's a waste of a halfway decent concept that has been done time and time and time and time again. Reminded me of a Christopher Piker Fear Street book. And I'm just going to get into spoilers because I want to spoil a lot of this. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So there you go. So there's a toy train set. There's all this stuff. There's, these crazy, these like crazy little hints about, what it could be. Fred keeps going away on business. Nancy and Dave end up teaming up because they decide that they want to investigate all this stuff. Also, Dave likes Nancy. She likes him because she arrived at this town. She's with Fred. They have Harry. And it's almost like somebody's trying to create their own little hamlet where they can accomplish what the fuck they want and do all this stuff. And that's basically what it is. At least I think that's what it is. I think that's what the movie was going for. I stopped caring pretty goddamn early on, and the movie didn't get me back. So, she does find some Polaroid stuff and, some possible hints that Fred could maybe be cheating or has a secret. She breaks into his office and she ends up leaving some evidence. He ends up basically, and Dave's trying to help her out and everything. It's set in like the year 2000, I think, because we hear a radio spot and also we see floor plans of things and about these various houses and all these little secrets, like, there's a Bologna Queen, Lacey, and then there's other, hints of locations where somebody was actually Fred. It was Fred. Fred's been killing people. That's what he's been fucking doing. Fred's been killing people, and he wanted to create this own little town so he could do this. Maybe it's a little town in his mind. Maybe it's all that. I don't really care at this point because none of this actually ends up registering as anything more than bland ripping off Twilight Zone shit. But there's a tulip festival. There's a good old-fashioned dash of racism towards, Dave's character. Yay. Whatever. I mean, and Dave and her have a bit of a whirlwind fuck session, as it were. And the idea is Nancy eventually decides she's going to leave Fred, but they need evidence so she can get Harry and not lose him in a divorce court battle. DMX is up in here plays. If he wasn't dead, the inclusion of that song in this movie would have killed him. So Dave decides to follow him on his next trip. And while this is going on, Nancy decides to follow him as well. They find some stuff in the hotel room, or at least Dave distracts Fred while Nancy's in there and finds some pup treats and some handcuffs and stuff like that. And it turns out that actually, while looking at doing all this research and finding out about all these missing women, all these murdered women, that there's a Bologna Queen, all this stuff, and Fred's been possibly doing these things, and then we see that Fred has killed somebody. There's a bunch of Pomeranians there. I hope the Pomeranians are alright, even though they're annoying, yappy little shit dogs. But there's a point during the scuffle where Fred gets stabbed, and then him and Dave are battling on a deck, and he gets stabbed again and falls in the drink, or the lake, as it were. But Fred ends up coming back, basically, like Jason fucking Voorhees. And Nancy is like, well, we have to get through tulip time, and then we can go. I guess you could just leave, or because you're a product of this guy's imagination, you can't. And we keep it hidden. That's what we do. Well, this movie should have been hidden. This movie should have been hidden on the back shelf where it collected dust, and then the dust got down the goddamn throat and choked it out. Maybe he had a dust allergy and it died horribly. Basically what I'm saying is Holland isn't very fucking good. Did you get that? Holland's not very fucking good. Unfortunately, it's also one of those films where basically everything about this could have worked. And I'm not even knocking the director at this point, because Fresh, while not my favorite movie, had elements of something that could have worked. This, though, no. Just fucking no. Absolutely not. Terrible writing. 100% terrible writing. Maybe they have studio interference. Maybe Amazon executives said, we need to make this movie as bland as possible. So, Dave ends up having a gun with him just in case Fred does come back. And, yeah, the Tulip Time kind of reminded me of the Strawberry Festival parade and carnival that we have here. Which, for those maybe 2 people that are watching from this area, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Fred is back, and this is in the last 20 minutes of the movie, by the way. Dave tries to explain himself, and then he ends up basically head wounded, and he's dying, this kind of stuff, and oh no. But then suddenly outside, Fred is there, along with Harry. They're going to go back. Fred's like, well, I'm keeping myself separate from this, and this is something I wanted to do, but when I'm here with you. That wasn't you back in the hotel, was it? You weren't doing that stuff. That wasn't really you, right? Was it? You know, basically fall in line, woman. And then, you know, they'll be like that because he wanted power over women. There was like one implication line with that a little earlier. And then they get in the goddamn car, but Harry's not buckled. So suddenly Nancy pulls the goddamn car over, and Harry runs, and he ends up getting shoved away when he tries to stop his mom from getting abused. She ends up shooting him during the interim here across the face, so he's got the cheek thing like Jonah Hex. And then he ends up basically getting beaten to death with a shoe or something or whatever. And then we get a narration where Dave's like, I showed up and I was lost and confused, and Nancy was lost and confused, and now they're together or they're not, and it's a product of imagination. I wish the Holland was a product of my imagination. The country or the movie, I'll let you decide that. Yeah, it gets an F. This is terrible. Really, really terrible. I mean, I hated this shit. I'm sorry, but this twist was really badly done. Because it was super obvious where it was going, and even though they tried to turn things around and tweak it a little bit, it didn't end up working. Because nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. So it gets an F. Agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.